You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
We're at George Ringer. Evening. Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of comments did you get on our fan?
Go away. Go away.
What kind of comments did you get about our guest?
Lots of really good comments. My wife, she was just enthralled by him. She thought that he was just really a fine young man, and I heard some other comments about like they seemed to be having a pretty good time.
My mother enjoyed the show.
Did she?
Yeah. So she tries to keep up with Wyatt as well. So just yeah. So where are we going to start?
Well, we can start anywhere from. I think maybe we should start on Saturday football.
Saturday football. Jeez,
Saturday football.
I'm shocked that's where you thought we should start.
Well, you know, what you said to me Saturday night is that if you said that the Gophers were going to win 30-0, you would wonder what I was drinking, smoking, or otherwise ascertaining that data.
Not just you, anybody.
And when you take a look at what they actually did, it's really pretty remarkable. They held this team to 63 yards. They had 4 sacks. I don't know how many tackles for losses. The defense was just exceptional. And we were waiting for that to come across. Boya Mafi and Thomas Rush. I mean, they got 2 sacks apiece. You know.
So how do you explain this to people? Because this is where I want to go with it.
Yeah.
And Dwayne and I went this way this morning with it on the radio. Colorado lost to Texas A&M, who's ranked in the top 10 in the nation, 2 Saturdays ago by the score of 10-7. That was a big red flag to me that said Colorado must be pretty good. Well, either that or Texas A&M is not as good as we are, because I don't know if they're. When I turned the radio on in the third quarter, and I didn't watch a play of it. When I turned it on in the third quarter, Colorado had minus 28 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Minus 28 rushing.
They didn't get a first down until 4 minutes into the second quarter. You know,
and then they didn't get into Gopher territory until the third quarter.
So, you know, they were just totally dominated, and a lot of it had to come from the defensive line, and I've been waiting for Mafi to break loose. He's got all this incredible talent. They call him the Freak, for crying out loud. You know, so he will jam them up, and he must have had himself a field day. And you know, success builds upon itself there when these guys get going. And also, you know, Trey Potts. Well, what do you say? 26 carries for 126 yards, 3 touchdowns. You know, this is when you have a balanced offense where you can use your play action passes. I love play action passes, especially when you have good tight ends that can catch the ball. And you know, and Chris Ottman-Bell was back in business. You know, he had 4 catches for 76 yards. Well, that can be big time. You know,
you give the other team something else to think about.
Well, yeah, and Tanner Morgan had himself another fine, consistent day. He's just kind of steady at the helm there, you know, and it's.
Is he the Kirk Cousins of college football?
I don't know. Geez, you hate to say that. Don't say that.
Well, everybody is against Kirk Cousins out there, it seems like.
Well, he
had a heck of a day yesterday.
He had a heck of a game.
But he gets the job done, and he still gets his whatever. Tanner Morgan a couple weeks ago, they lose 45-31 to Ohio State, and everybody's calling for Tanner Morgan's job, and I'm just like, good grief, what does the guy got to do? Does he got to like rise from the dead?
No,
I don't know.
He's a very fine quarterback and an exceptional guy, and you know, he can stay in there. I'll tell you what he can do that a lot of modern quarterbacks can't do is take punishment. He's a big boy. And so he can sit he's a pocket quarterback, although he's a mobile pocket quarterback. You know,
I'd like to see him run the ball once or twice more per game, just to keep the other team honest. And I don't care if you got to slide down and whatever else, but yeah.
No, I tell you, and you know, Bowling Green's coming to town, and Bowling Green without a pass attack is pretty weak. And so I tell you, their offensive line. They got to be having sleepless nights.
Is it a trap game?
Pardon?
Is this a trap game for the Gophers?
No. This is homecoming game.
We're going to be up. We're not going to get blindsided.
The biggest problem that we have here is injuries. But I think right now, like the paper says, the Gophers have put relevance back in their season. And when you take a look at some of the other teams that won and got beat, I think Minnesota's right in the mix. Michigan State looked really good.
Michigan State looked really good.
Penn State was amazing.
And therein lies the issue. You start looking at who does Minnesota have to beat? Well, we'll get to the Big Ten championship game, all right. They can beat Northwestern, it looks like to me. Illinois shouldn't be a problem.
No,
the Cheeseheads are the Cheeseheads. Yeah. Iowa's Iowa.
Iowa's Iowa,
Yeah,
and they're good. But in order to get the Big Ten championship, you better be able to beat somebody good. You can't fluke your way into that tournament, and it's but they also, the other thing is that we had Marchese Bucky Irvin carried. Yeah. He carried 15 carries for 89 yards. I didn't know who Bucky Irving was until yesterday morning. And the other guy that they had is Kai Thomas. He had 7 carries for 66 yards plus a touchdown. So
that's a lot of yards rushing.
Well, it is, and we all miss Mo, the big Mo. But the fact of it is that you kind of had a feeling maybe there's some kids back there that have the right kind of combo, especially speed. To pick up the pace.
Those big guys up front.
Yes,
we know that.
That is the truth.
And I'm here to keep preaching to you people so that you start to listen.
But there were some other great games on Saturday. Alabama and Florida. Florida almost pulled the tooth. And
what would that have done to the college football landscape?
Yeah, he would have ripped it up some. There's no two ways about it.
Alabama is like this one above the 2s, 3s, 4s. I mean, they're supposedly whatever. Florida could have turned the college season, I think, on its head for a while. Not to say that Alabama wouldn't recover and found themselves in the playoffs come to the end because they're that good. They're going to. But Florida showed everybody they're vulnerable. That they're not this machine that can't be beat.
Well, and I think Nebraska did the very same thing for Oklahoma. 22-16, and Nebraska looked good. There were times that they were playing heads up.
Are you saying Frost might have saved his job?
I think Frost might have saved his job if he really wanted to save his job.
October?
He might, but but Clemson and Ohio State, they all dropped precipitously, and you have Iowa and.
And I smirk and smile only because, yes, Clemson and Ohio State dropped, but you know that it's a long way to November.
Yes.
And they're going to keep creeping up, because everybody else is going to have a hiccup, and those guys probably aren't going to have another hiccup. They'll keep climbing their way back up.
Well,
they're just getting their hands slapped for now.
Well, and I'm telling you, Michigan beat Northern Illinois 63-10. Well, you know that
running it up on those poor little boys from Illinois. Those Michigan wannabes.
They weren't defending for it. Yeah, I hear you. And Duke beat Northwestern. I don't know what to think about that. Only by a touchdown, but they did beat them.
Northwestern's like this.
Yeah.
It seems like one year they're not very good. The next year they surprise the heck out of everybody.
Well, on top of that, up until the third quarter, Tulsa's this team down in Oklahoma. They give Ohio State everything that they wanted, and so, there must be like a whole bunch of very talented teams. Michigan State beat the heck out of Miami, and hey, what can I say?
And that makes, they did it in Miami.
In Miami.
And when Alabama played Miami a few weeks ago, everybody was like, oh, Alabama's this great, whatever. Well, now Michigan State put a whopping on them too, so what is... I don't know.
They broke that stadium. It was like 103 degrees on the floor of that thing, and it was just like, you wonder why there aren't a whole lot more cramps. But I have to say one more score. Army beat UConn 52-21.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. They're 3-0, my boys.
Okay. I turned on the TV at lunch today.
Yeah.
I was flipping through the channels. ESPNU, was replaying the Michigan State Miami game.
Yeah.
Michigan State's got themselves a running back.
They do.
Number 9. I couldn't tell you what his number is, or what his name is. I can tell you what his number is.
He is fast.
He is fast.
He is fast.
He is fast. So keep him on radar if you can with how fast he moves.
Well, you know, and I got to take a look at North Dakota State, South Dakota, they all won. Minnesota State, Mankato beat Bemidji State, but 45-24, and the score was a lot closer than what the tail end told you. Wayne State beat Minot. I only bring that up because of that's UMD's next thing, and
they got Wayne State or Minot.
They got, I think it's Wayne State.
Okay. I was going to say, because if they got Minot, we might as well just put the snooze on.
No.
Because that's going to be a whooping.
Northern Iowa beat St. Thomas 44-3. And
I did not see the score. I'm glad you brought that one into the forefront.
St. Thomas has some things to learn. St. John's beat Martin Luther 55-3, and UMD. Well,
I was wondering when we were going to get to that.
You know, UMD really played an excellent game, and they wound up
beating
Winona State. They were up by 23 points.
And then they had to hang on.
And they had to hang on 29-23. But, you know, they have this guy. Oh, I think I got his name sitting down here somewhere. Yeah, here he is. This is Armani Carmichael. And Armani Carmichael is a wide receiver, and he's talented. And so I'm sure right now he's John Larson's best friend. And they have, like the old days of UMD, where they have 4 and 5 circulating running backs. My favorite one of these is a guy named Wade Sullivan. He's 5'8", 9", something like that, 175 pounds, but he goes about 6 inches off the ground, and he does not mind hitting people. In fact, I think he looks forward to it. And so he's, you know, you watch these guys, defensively, they seem to be fairly well set, although, you know, it's hard when you're up that many points in that league to all of a sudden say, geez, we got this one in the bag. But the fact is, you oftentimes do not.
True.
And so I think they pulled their karma together, and Wayne State next Saturday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
But I see them going right to the bitter end. I can see that they will be matched up with Mankato again for the championship, and so it'll be, that's going to be the way it's going.
So we're already printing our tickets. I said that the last.
No, I'm real happy for the boys down there, and they're doing really well. So now,
does that mean we're moving on to Sunday football?
We can move on to Sunday football.
Yeah.
Well, as Sue said on her phone today when I come down, she says, we live in the land of 10,000 misses, and you know, and I thought, well, that's sarcastic as can be, and probably pretty true. And you know,
she must be feeling better.
Well, she says this with one eye closed. But you know, I'll tell you, and this is kind of the deal that the Vikings have to deal with, because I watched Hunter play, and he was as dominant an edge rusher as I've seen in a long time.
Got a little scary there when he caught Kyler that one time. I didn't think he'd catch up with him, and
he when he is on his game back there, he is really hard to beat. In spite of that, Kyle Murray beat him, and this is the modern young quarterback that's out there. And I said, and this is only the beginning. Next time the Vikings face Russell Wilson, then they face your good friend Baker Mayfield. Then they face Lamar Jackson a little bit down the line, and Justin Fields are going to face him twice. These are these young, scooty quarterbacks. Okay, the modern quarterback, they got extraordinary tools, Tim. They can run really fast, and they can throw. I saw a pass yesterday where he threw on the run that he was up in the air. I don't know how he landed, not to mention how he threw the ball. You know,
but he did throw 2 picks.
He did throw 2 picks.
So now let me ask this question.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut you off. If our good friend Kirk Cousins would have thrown for 400 yards yesterday and threw 2 interceptions like Kyler Murray threw, he'd be being crucified today.
Well, yeah,
win or lose, because how could he throw those two footballs?
I thought Kirk Cousins played a heck of a football game.
Kirk Cousins played a heck of a ball game.
And so I realize that, and he's.
But there's still people out there who say he didn't get the job done.
No, what they're seeing is they're seeing Lamar Jackson run around and being able to do all this stuff. He's not that kind of quarterback. And we'll see Matt Stafford going out to California. He's not that kind of quarterback either, although he also is mobile, but he can really throw. And so, these it's a different style of type of thing. My point is, defensively, it's not enough to rush these guys. You have to contain them, because in effect they become another running back.
I thought for the most part, I thought the Vikings did that very well yesterday, where they kept their lanes.
Yes.
They didn't get pushed out of their lanes and leave. Yes, he had that nice touchdown run, which got my daughter to go, wow, that guy's really fast. He is. And I thought that even on that play, the Vikings did a good job of having that umbrella, as I like to call it, as a D-line coach, keeping that guy inside. He just got snuck through a gap. I mean, for the most part, I thought the Vikings defensive line did a good job of keeping him in check. You take away the 75-yard, where the heck was the defensive back at on that one play? Now he's only throwing for 325. He's a nice quarterback. He's got lots of weapons.
Yeah.
But I think the Vikings exposed their offensive line a little bit yesterday, that people can put pressure on him. And Danielle Hunter is a freak and all the rest of that stuff. But almost every NFL team has a guy like that.
No,
that
it is. That's
the edge. So.
To me, that's the entertainment segment of the game. Look at what these guys are. Donald was incredible yesterday. And so there are some really, really good defensive people. And when you watch them play, you say, hey, that's really good. My point is that I think that the Vikings are set up for the most part pretty well for a drop-back quarterback. I don't know any defense in the NFL that is totally sharp on these modern quarterbacks when they can run. It's one of the things. I am sure Kirk Cousins has a drop line. I haven't seen one in a long, long time.
I thought he looked more mobile yesterday than he has in a long time.
I have to agree.
And in my mind, I believe that the coaching staff had to say to him, look, we'd love for you to sit in the pocket and pick your butt and stand around and pick your receiver and throw the ball. But you're probably going to have to be on the move a little bit and get your head on a swivel and move it. And he did yesterday a little bit. And I missed maybe the first, by the time I turned the TV on, we were up 14-7 or whatever it was. But having said all that, the Viking offensive line didn't fare too badly yesterday. I thought the holding call that they called on...
that was a good one.
I don't know. Stuck his hand out. Yeah, it was close.
And there was a fumble there.
So anyway, like I said, I thought the Vikings played really good offensively. Obviously, defensively, giving up 400 yards passing isn't ideal. But when you're trying to hold a team like that in check, sometimes 400 yards is pretty good. And they were lucky to have Eric Kendricks. I know he was injured. Give me Anthony Barr back and the way we played in the second
defense,
half. Give me back what we did in the second half. I mean, we only gave up 10 points in the second half. I know people are probably going to think I'm nuts, but this team's 0-2 by 4 points, and they got to be the best 0-2 team in the NFL, because I don't...
I'm still predicting them to be conference champions, and I mean, but that's one of the reasons I'm going to be watching tonight's Detroit Packer game. This is the only other two teams that are really going to be able to do it. But I'm just saying is that when I take a look at the schedule, every one of these teams has one of these modern quarterbacks, and they're not all modern. And like I say, Matt Stafford's going to hurt a lot of people with him cruising back there in a pocket. He's never really had one. So
what else in the NFL yesterday caught your fancy?
Let's see.
Anything? Hey, your big friend Derrick Henry goes for 182
and three touchdowns
and beats Seattle in Seattle.
In Seattle, that was huge, no doubt about it.
Tom Brady 5 touchdown passes after I gassed him on fantasy football weekly a couple Thursdays
I'm not
ago.
sure. I'm not even sure where that man's coming from.
I think he heard what I said about him and he stepped up to the plate.
So everything I just said about the modern quarterback, there are exceptions.
Yeah, there's exceptions to the rule when you're the GOAT or something like that. Derek Carr threw for 382 yards against Pittsburgh yesterday.
Were you kind of surprised at that?
No, I think Vegas is the Raiders are a team to be reckoned with. I mean, they do play in the same division with KC, which is going to make it tough. But I think Derek Carr's been around for a while. And
Big Ben was on his keister an awful lot yesterday.
And I predicted he was going to have a big game, and I picked the wrong quarterback in that game. But yeah, like I said, there were some good, interesting things yesterday. It was a fun. I didn't watch a whole lot of it, but it got the job done. So, anyway, how about a little high school football before we?
I think it's time.
Of course, the Broncos lost to Mesabi East 32-6 on Friday night, and I talked to somebody who said I didn't think they played great, but I didn't think they played bad either. The score maybe didn't indicate how close the game was.
I agree. I think I saw some individuals put out a solid effort. We've been, we take a look at the two solid, what we hoped was a solid defensive line, and that's Gavin Lovelace, and I thought that he had the best game of the season so far. And at the defensive tackle, Braden Skifstead, he is starting to reach a point where you can have an expected performance out of him. And if you don't get it, you can explain that to him. So, but I saw that those two played really well on the line, and Charlie, he caught a couple of nice passes, and so they played well in many ways.
Yeah, there were spots. Of course, you gave up a couple of big runs, which isn't good. An interesting game penalty-wise.
It was.
That went for and against the Broncos.
It was really a poorly officiated game, and it wasn't their fault. They only had 4 officials, but I think it was actually poorly officiated on both sides, and wasn't determinant of the game.
I just think that if these two teams played again this Friday, I don't think Mesabi East beats them by 26 points.
No,
I just don't think that.
I saw Mesabi limping off an awful lot. They'd been in a football game here. They just didn't come to town and have a donut.
The Broncos had a couple of chances, got down into pay dirt territory, and didn't hit pay dirt. And like I said, it's just one of those things that I think it's not all gloom and doom. It's 0-3. I understand that. Deer River's not going to be any easy game in any stretch of the imagination. But having said that, you get a couple of guys back here late in the season, and all of a sudden things might be different.
So we got Deer River coming up.
Deer River this Friday, and they're 3-0. So they're always good. They're always good. Coached up.
They are.
You know that when you play them, they're going to make you pay if you don't read your keys.
Who'd they play last week?
They beat.
7 goes that way. And for the two Memorial, 7.
Can't think of it. 22-16 was the score.
Yeah.
I know that. Seemed like it was Two Harbors. But that wasn't it, because Two Harbors played Aiken, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, I can't come up with it off the top of my head here. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting week. I just wanted to bring up high school football because I didn't want to make sure if you didn't see the final play of the Hermantown Duluth East game. Did you see it?
No, I have not.
So Duluth East is ahead 25-22. Hermantown had to come back. They were down 19 points. Hermantown's got the ball on about the 40-yard line, and of course it's Hail Mary time. Last play of the game. Down 25-22. So what's the last thing as a defensive player you're supposed to do? Let somebody get behind you.
Yeah.
Not only did Hermantown get one receiver behind, but they got 2. And the quarterback just heaved her up there, and there were 2 guys standing back there like they were trying to catch a punt. And he caught it, and Hermantown came back and beat him on the Hail Mary 28-25.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't see the pass. No.
Anyway, I just, like I said, when you get a Hail Mary to win a game, I don't care what level you're at, it's a big deal. Even if you don't like Hermantown, still pretty cool that that had happened. But sad that Duluth East let two guys get behind him. I understand you might be playing zone, but geez, you can't.
No,
you just can't get anybody get behind you.
Nobody.
And Caledonia lost again.
Two this time.
They've already lost two. I didn't even see last week what they did, but they've lost 2 games, and after winning 71 in a row, losing 2, that's more games they've lost since about 2012 or something like that. So anyway, just a couple observations high school football wise. I don't know if you heard about this either. We should. Well, we had our good friend on last week, so we didn't talk much high school. But this Wangenstein, Nathan Wangenstein, the kicker from Northwood or from Chisholm.
Yeah.
Last week at Northwoods, he kicked a 51-yard field goal.
Oh boy.
51 yards in high school.
That's big.
That starts getting you letters from Division I schools.
It certainly does.
So congratulations to him. I have no doubt. They did show it on TV. Northwoods or Chisholm sent film, and Uncle Paul said it just cleared the bar, but it doesn't matter how much it clears the bar by. She made her over. So 51 yards. That's a.
And what was the final on that game?
I believe that the final score was 53-20 in favor of Northwoods over Chisholm.
Oh boy. So Northwood's going to have a team.
Northwoods has got a nice team. They got the Chibodi
brothers,
cousins, the whole deal there. So anyway, that's what I've got on excuse me on high school football. You want to talk about the Twins at all?
Yeah, let's talk about the Twins a little bit.
Got to face our good friend Jose Barrios.
They did. How'd that turn out?
Jose gave up 4 hits in 6+ innings and 3 runs. Twins lost 5-3. Jose, it was kind of funny because I have an advantage because I get to hear some of these audio clips from the players because I work at the station now. And anyway, he was talking about that it wasn't a lot of fun to face his former team. But he talked to his mom the day before, and his mom wanted him to understand that he was playing his former team, and that he had a job to do. Yeah, Mom says, hey, you got a job to get done. So he even said that in the interview. Well, my mom called me and said, you know who you're pitching against tomorrow. And
I wonder when he struck out a twin if he went over and apologized afterwards. I would suggest not.
I
don't think that's good.
Anyway, the Twins lost 2 or 3 up north, and they did hit back-to-back home runs on Friday. I got to think here, Miguel and Jorge and Donaldson. They all hit back-to-back home runs in their win on Friday. So, hey, we got 2 weeks left in the season. We'll play them out and see what happens, and we'll keep getting some of these young pitchers some experience. Our good friend Joe Ryan is okay after he got hit in the wrist last Wednesday by a ground ball right in the pitching hand. Scared the bejeebers out of me. I don't like those kinds of things. But, anyway, Chicago White Sox are just about wrapped up the AL Central. Their magic numbers at 4. Milwaukee's got theirs down to 3. San Francisco and the Dodgers are out west battling back and forth. St. Louis looks like they're gonna find a way to get into the wild card.
3 games ahead of the Reds. 3 games.
And then in the AL wild card, it's going to be crazy because Boston, Toronto, and New York are all within about a game and a half of each other, and Oakland is like hoping that they can make it even more interesting. So the last couple of weeks are going to be fun for MLB.
Well, you know, and I always like fall baseball, and once the playoffs start, boy, just go ahead and watch the first inning and see if you're not there at the 5th. It's difficult to pull away from because. Well, there's so many great pitchers out there, not to mention hitters, you know, and there's some things going on too. My Japanese homer friend, he got beamed.
He got beamed, yeah.
That wasn't an accident, I don't think.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Of course, that's one way to slow him down.
But he had 10 strikeouts yesterday in the game he pitched.
Oh, so he got over it.
Yeah, you know, he's okay, I think. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his 48th home run against the Twins the other day.
Yeah.
Looks like he'll get to 50. Probably will win that home run title, I suspect. So, like I said, some interesting things.
There are some interesting things.
Want to talk a little Minnesota Wild for a second?
Yes, they're starting their camp.
Camp starts Wednesday.
Yeah.
First preseason game Saturday. Guess who's not signed yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrill's learned about American capitalism right along nicely.
And I don't know if you were listening on the radio this morning, but Bill Guerin is an unhappy man right now with Carrill. I think if there's a certain hand gesture I could do on the air for you, visualize, but you can use your imagination. I think that's what Bill Guerin is saying to Carrill right now. Look, you can think you're worth $10 million a year, but not to us, you're not. So you might as well get off your high horse and quit thinking you're worth $10 million, because you're just not going to get to play hockey, and because I got your rights, and you can go back to Russia if you want, and when you come back from Russia, we'll still be waiting here. And he sounded testy about it on the clip that I listened to. So
and actually he should, because I tell you, he could go play in Russia, but he's not going to make $10 million there either.
No, and here's my prediction: Carrill's going to get the message.
Yeah.
And if Carrill doesn't play during the preseason, I don't think it's going to matter a whole bunch. Matter of fact, Tampa Bay has kind of made the whole thing that we don't really care if our guys play during the regular season at all, as long as they show up in the playoffs and play hockey. That's soon enough. So maybe Bill Guerin's taking the approach that, well, if Carrill doesn't play the first 25 games, he doesn't play till Christmas or something, hey, it's okay, because then you got the Olympic break in there and everything else.
The problem of it is that Carrill does one thing: puts people in the stands, and people want to see him play. And so this is what he has going for him, and so they can give and take all they want, but the young man's kind of figured this part out.
Yeah, absolutely. He's fun. My prediction, by October 15th, when the Wild play,
I think he will. He'll be there.
He'll be in uniform.
Yeah.
I don't have any doubt about it.
No, me neither.
His teammates will start putting the pressure on him, and I think they'll get things figured out.
Yeah.
How about the Loons?
What about, they're just going right along. Yeah.
After that absolute disaster on Wednesday against Sporting KC, which I had all kinds of I was going to sit down and watch. I thought this was going to be fun. Well, then KC scored 3 times in the first half, and I'm like, all right, no sense watching that anymore. But they got Emmanuel Reynoso back, their best striker, their best midfielder, whichever way you want to call it. He comes back, he scores in the 4th and 20th minutes. Everything's good back with the Loons right now, and of course Ethan Finlay, who's originally from Duluth, he scored in the second half, so the Loons won 3-0. So they're out of the playoffs right now. This win obviously helped. They've got about 8 or 10 games left. They got to make a run here and see what happens. But I'm excited that Reynoso is back. That's a big piece of the puzzle.
Oh, what's going on with the Lynx?
Well, the Lynx got the number 3 seed. They took care of business down the stretch. They avoided. I don't know if there's a good way to say this, but they didn't do very well against Connecticut a couple of weeks ago. And they've done okay against Seattle, and they've done okay against Vegas. So Vegas is the 2, we're the 3, Seattle's the 4, Connecticut's the 1. So at least you avoided. I think Seattle still is the favorite out there, but at least they've avoided Seattle until the semis, or until the finals, excuse me. And then this first round, 5 plays 8, 6 plays 7. Well, it's a 1-game thing, so they play Wednesday or Thursday this week, and then the Lynx are off until Sunday, and then they get the 3rd best of those the teams of what's left over. So we'll see what the heck happens here. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but we'll see what happens. I said that the wrong way, actually. They get the worst of the 2 teams that are left over. They got 3 possible teams that they could play.
So do they have what, 3 games left?
They got no regular season games left. So what happens now is 5 plays. There's 8 teams in the playoffs.
Okay.
5 plays 8, 6 plays 7, and then the lowest seed gets number 3, gets Minnesota. The middle seed gets Seattle.
So it's going to be
it's a one game. You win, you're in. You're out. You lose, you're out. If they win that game, then you get into a 5-game series. The last down to the final 4 are just 5-game series. So I fully suspect that the Lynx will win next Sunday, and then they'll be playing Las Vegas in a 5-game series, and that'll be tough. Everything will be tough after that.
Well, it should be. They're good basketball players.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. So.
Where are we at?
Oh, we're doing okay. Canadian Football League, the Bombers came up with a nice win. We were watching while you were doing the Blues Hour. I was trying to push some buttons and watch a little on my phone, and so they moved to 5-1 on the season. Like my Bombers, they're playing very, very well right now. First place in the Western Conference. So keep going, Blue Bombers, and yeah, good to see them taking care of business.
Well, you know, that Canadian Football League is so much fun because by Thanksgiving they're all done. And so they know that because hockey season starts then.
They get out of the way.
Yeah,
that weather gets a little nasty up north of the border, up north of 48 degrees. Yeah, they're actually playing 3 weeks later this year, so they're going to find out.
Oh, really?
Because they moved started the season back, and they're only playing 14 games. So the Grey Cup will actually be like the 18th, 19th of December, right before Christmas. That time frame there. So we'll find out how the weather plays and if they're move some games indoors or what they'll do up there, but it'll be fun.
It will be fun, yeah. Maybe some of us can get a crossover Canada see a game. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So, just for the record, I did schedule a COVID test so I could cross the border and go oversee the Fort Francis Lakers on Thursday to talk to the guys and see how things are going, do my job, so to speak. But the Lakers lost their first game of the season 4-0 to the Dryden Ice Dogs, who they play again on Friday. So.
Isn't that a great name, the Ice Dogs?
Ice Dogs.
Yeah,
there's something about that name.
Yeah, I like it.
Anyway, the SIJHL season got started on Friday, so hockey season is upon us officially. I know the Muskies are having their tryouts this coming weekend. And speaking of the Muskies, their football team played for the first time in 2 seasons, and they lost 20-8 to Dryden. But hey, the way the coach said, they were just happy to be playing football.
Playing football, that's exactly right.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
And we got a big border battle coming up this week as the Vikings and the Broncos playing volleyball on Thursday.
Yes, that is huge.
That'll be an interesting match.
That's in the Falls or
that is down in Little Fort.
Oh, a long ways.
And we'll have that. We'll have it on yourliveevent.com.
All right.
Keeps a lot of you people on KCC TV interested. But what a match it was Thursday night for the Bronco girls down in Virginia. 3 of the 4 sets went to extra points. Had extra volleyball in them, and the Broncos unfortunately fell in 4 sets. But it was very competitive, very close, fun to watch.
Probably your last call in Roosevelt Gym.
I looked at the basketball schedule. I might have one more time, but I figured I better take a picture and post it out there that it could be my last time in Roosevelt, because you just never know what wintertime brings. You might get things canceled, postponed, and never get rescheduled. So I drove by where the old Miners Memorial Building was, and
That's gone, huh?
It's gone.
Wow.
Totally gone. The new building is up.
And the football field?
Football field's gone there. There's no football field left there. The stadium is gone. They put up this palatial hockey arena with two sheets of ice on it, and I'm hopefully get a chance to get down there and watch some hockey at some point this year along the way. But yeah, things are moving along. But other than that, George, what else you got?
Well, I tell you what. This is, last night I started watching the Ken Burns series, and I'll tell you, he's done it again. He's got an 8-hour biography of Muhammad Ali. If you were around in the 50s or the 60s, it absorbed everything. It really did. He was just like a big puzzle of this big revolution that was going on. Black and white, sports and boxing, and it was just, in those days everybody knew what every champion was in every weight. Yeah. You not only knew what every heavyweight champion was, you knew them for 40, since Jack Dempsey, and even before that. So you knew all these guys, and all of a sudden, here's this pup, smart mouth kid who is extraordinarily talented, and it's like they're talking last night. They says that people couldn't hit him because he stepped back. They says real boxing coaches duck and weave. No, he stepped back and he had such long arms they could reach. He had an incredible jab, and they said after he fought Sonny Liston said, somebody lied to me. They told me he couldn't hit hard, and this was he didn't answer the bell of the sixth round, and all of a sudden here's this brash 22-year-old kid that is now at the top of the heap, and he went from there. Now that was the first 2 hours last night. They're going to do the second 2 hours today, and it's an incredible film because there is some brutality to it, and they talk about how they would work somebody's cut over and really make them suffer, and boxers of that caliber are certainly capable of doing that. But I'll tell you, the 50s and 60s were a complicated time. Muhammad Ali was not, I mean, in 1964 when he became a heavyweight champion, 64, 65, he was a small part, and it just grew from there. And so, his story is really a complicated journey that goes far beyond sports. But to say that he wasn't the GOAT of the heavyweight boxing, it would be a misnomer. He was that good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would guess maybe a polarizing figure. Is that fair enough to say?
Well, it's like everything. They says he changed his name, and he says, "Well, I changed his name because I didn't want to be named after a slave owner." Well, Cassius Clay was not a slave owner. In fact, he was a Kentucky abolitionist, and his father was named after him to honor the man. And I kind of stumbled on this guy, but he was a Unionist during the Civil War, and Border State Unionists were really rare. But the Cassius Marcellus Clay was not a slaver and was not a nasty human being. That being said, Muhammad Ali, he lived in Louisville, where there was a lot of things that were going on, and he grew up in the segregated South, which is, I remember it happening, and I remember seeing signs, pictures of signs, white or colored signs, and you just like, it absolutely made no sense. And but that's the South that he grew up with, and that's the South that he desperately wanted to change. But he's a remarkable man. I'm going to watch the next 6 hours, and I learned a lot last night.
Sure.
The films and the shots of what was going on in 1963-64. They show him winning his first professional boxing match in Madison Square Garden, which he gets knocked down, by the way. He got knocked down several times, and and there was at least one time when he was fighting Sonny Liston, and Liston, they say he put something like rubbing liniment on his gloves and rubbed it in his eye, and throughout the thing, Ali is trying to cover his eyes, and he can't see, and he went to the corner, and he said to Angelo Dundee, "Cut off these gloves, I can't continue, my eyes are burning." And Angelo Dundee refused to do it and just saturated his eyes with water and got as much out of it as he could. And he came out for the fifth round. That, I think, was the fourth round. He came out in the fifth round and beat Sonny Liston up so bad that Liston wouldn't answer the next bell. So you take a look at this and you just think, those were amazing days in sports. And I'm not even a boxing fan any longer, but that was quite a deal.
Everybody was back then.
Everybody was back then.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Minnesota plays Bowling Green, and UMD plays Wayne State, and geez, I can't even remember who Army's going to beat up.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But I hope they do it.
I hope they do too.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week.